Welcome back to another weekly recap. I'm Brie E Anderson, and we've got a lot to cover this week. But before we get into that, I just want to say, if you are in Wichita, Kansas, you're going to want to stay till the end of this because I might be giving away a $125 gift. This week, we're going to be talking about the latest changes to Google conversion tracking, a new ad placement for Snapchat, who just joined the Libra Association, how TikTok is testing LinkInBio, and then we're going to go outside digital and talk about how millennials' favorite investing app might turn into a social platform. All right, first things first, let's talk about the changes that came to Google Ads this week. Well, there were multiple. The most talked about were the changes that came to conversion tracking within Google Ads. So in case you didn't know, when you set up your conversion tracking in Google Ads by going to Tools and Settings, then Conversions, the current options you get are lead, purchase, page view, or sign up. Now, most of you are probably thinking that's a little vague, right? Because that is a little vague. So Google finally recognized this, and they're now allowing people to track all sorts of conversions, what some may call micro conversions. So now you're able to specify add to cart, begin checkout, subscribe, book an appointment, sign up, request for a quote, get directions, and so many more, right? There are so many more different conversions now. So there are a few different reasons that Google could be doing this and a few different ways that it could benefit us. So the first is that Google has a lot of different things that allow you to track the success of your ads. So if you don't have these all set up, I'm going to go through them really quickly so that you can make sure that you have them all set up. First is Google Tag Manager. You plug all of your code straight into Google Tag Manager, upload the Tag Manager to your website, and now you're seamlessly tracking everything. Your Google Tag Manager should contain both your Google Analytics tag and your Google Ads tag. Then they'll all start talking to each other pretty cohesively, right? Because your Google Analytics and Google Ads are both in the Google Tag Manager, and your Google Ads and Google Analytics also connect to one another natively. So now we have all of these connections, right? And by Google Ads allowing you to track more conversions, you're also able to track more conversions within Google Analytics. Now, a lot of people were doing this just by setting goals, but the reality of it is you only get so many goals, and if you can use less for things that should have already been tracked by Google Ads, that's better, because then obviously now you can track other things going on your website. So that's the first thing, right? Is now we're going to have much better data and better data tracking. The other good thing is that this allows for a lot easier retargeting, and not only a lot easier, but a lot better. One of the first videos I ever did was talking about how people abuse retargeting and they don't do it well. And so you might get retargeted for something that you've already bought for months afterwards because people don't know how to set up their campaigns correctly. So hopefully with these new Google ad conversions, people are going to be able to set up better retargeting campaigns and better track the conversions and where people are in the funnel and where they are in their buying process. Okay, so on to Snapchat ads. So in case you don't really know how Snapchat ads work, they're placed as people are browsing the stories of their friends. So just like on Instagram, people tap through the stories and it shows friends' stories and goes on to the next friend's stories, etc., etc. And then an ad will show up and they're prompted to swipe up. And when they swipe up, they're either going to be watching a longer video, they're going to be going to a website, or they're going to be prompted to download an app. So Snapchat rolled out this week that they are also going to be able to prompt people to swipe up to call or text a company. Yeah, Snapchat mentioned that it was going to be beneficial for people like realtors, car dealerships, and restaurants, mostly because in order to have any sort of interaction with those, generally speaking, you have to have an appointment set up ahead of time. So they're thinking people will be able to swipe up, call, make their appointment, and then go on their merry way. It pushes people through the funnel very, very quickly. But in my mind, there's a lot more going on with this. So if people swipe up, we know that millennials aren't very big phone talkers, right? So they're not going to want to swipe up and call and make an appointment in the traditional way that people have probably thought of it previously. The texting is a really big aspect, and we're seeing more and more people push texting. I actually worked with a hair school not too long ago that was able to start people through the application and prospecting process just through text, because it allowed them to gather their phone number and the name of the person, and now they own that data, right? That's such a big deal right now, is they own that data. That person has willfully given them that information, and now they can ask people if they opt in to receive messages. They say yes, and now you have this avenue, this personal avenue that works really, really well contacting those millennials. So, like I said, Snapchat rolled out this ad placement, and it's really not surprising. People are thinking that this really isn't going to do much, but the first thing you have to remember is that Snapchat actually has a 5% higher swipe up rate than both Google and YouTube have of a click-through rate. That's a really big deal. These are good numbers, especially when you consider how people browse stories. It's not very accidental that you're going to swipe up on an ad when all you're doing is tapping through stories. So you're not accidentally swiping up. If you're doing it, it's pretty intentional most of the time. So that's a really big deal, as we know these ads are doing a lot better than the Facebook and Google, and they're probably a little bit cheaper because there's a lot less competition on Snapchat. So the new ad placement's going to be great. It's something else for these people to test. But what I'm really, really focused on with this is just how much messaging is being pushed this year. So I don't know what kind of people you follow on Instagram or Twitter, what have you, but a lot of influencers are now rolling out these phone numbers that you can text, and then they'll be able to text you back, right? And when you text them, it asks you if you opt in to receiving these messages, and it's essentially promotional, and every once in a while they'll say, hey, if you text this number back, I'll text you. And I'm sure they get an influx of text messages, and they reply to some of them. Probably most notable is Gary Vee. Gary Vee has been doing this for a while. I'm on his text list. Unfortunately, he's never texted me back. If you want to tell Gary Vee to text me, more power to you. But I've seen a lot of people do this. A lot of big podcasters are doing it. A lot of speakers are doing it. And like I said, just in general, influencers are starting to do this as well, especially if they have a really big following. And I think it just goes to show how much people want to have conversations in smaller spaces because they want them to be more meaningful, right? You're not going to have a very, very meaningful conversation on your Facebook wall. I'm sure for most of us right now, the only conversations we're seeing on our Facebook walls are debates and arguments. People want to have conversations and really connect with people. And in order to do that, there has to be a smaller space. That's why we see groups doing so well. And that's why we see private message and chat doing so well right now. So I think, we're seeing pushes to these places, and that SMS is going to be really good, because you have to remember, social media, you do not own those platforms, right? So Facebook could shut down tomorrow, and even if you had the best chatbot campaign, you had same thing with Instagram, great Instagram chat campaigns, and you had good things going on in your DMs. If they shut down tomorrow, what would you do? You don't own any of that. So that's why I think SMS is going to be so good, because now you own those phone numbers. People going to SMS, we're seeing it a lot more. I think we have to be very careful. Marketers like to screw things up. We have to be very careful with how we do it. But I think that we're going to see more and more SMS or just text-based campaigns. I'm going to be really interested to see if any of these influencers, speakers, podcasters, etc. Use these Snap ads to try and grow that list. That'll be interesting to kind of see. And like I said, it's worth trying, even if you're doing it for the sole purpose of collecting that information from people, because where we are right now, that data is invaluable, especially if you can get that double opt-in early. All right, so now I want to talk about the Libra Association. So Libra is Facebook's cryptocurrency project that they've been working on for a while now, and they've been having some issues trying to get it pushed through. If you've been paying any attention to this at all, you know that last year they had some of their big hitters drop out of the association. We're talking Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and Stripe all dropped from the association last year. And that's not really good, because those were the big hitters in the finance space that Facebook really needed the backing of in order to be able to move forward with this cryptocurrency, especially in the United States. So actually this week, Shopify announced that they joined the Facebook Libra Association. They're hoping to get really two major things out of this. The first is that they don't want to be paying credit card processing fees all the time. They don't want their merchants to have to be paying it. They don't want their customers to be paying it. They don't want anyone paying these extra fees. And they'd like to be very transparent about the fees that are used on their platform. And the second is that Shopify really focuses on the small entrepreneurs, right? The people that are selling things maybe as a side gig, or they're using it as their venture into entrepreneurship. One of their main concerns right now is that in order to have an e-commerce store, the majority of the time you have to have some sort of bank account in order to run it. The problem is that there are a lot of people that have access to Shopify that don't have access to bank accounts easily or readily. So people in less well-off countries, bank accounts aren't a very big thing. There's not a lot of transactions that happen with credit cards still, let alone we're talking about e-commerce and direct deposit and things of that nature. They're really hoping that once Libra is able to be pushed through, that they'll be able to allow their users to have a Libra wallet or a cryptocurrency wallet where they can use that almost as their bank, and then eventually they will be able to go to a cryptocurrency ATM and cash it out for whatever currency it is that they're needing. Now, to break that down a little bit, I'm going to do my very best, but if you are a cryptocurrency expert, please drop in the comments how all of this works. I'm going to do my very best right now to try and explain it. So, cryptocurrency, when you buy cryptocurrency, you get an encrypted wallet, and that's where all of your different cryptocurrency are stored. And so Libra would be able to be stored in this wallet. This wallet is essentially like your cryptocurrency bank account, except for you can have all sorts of different cryptocurrency within that bank account, right? And so what happens, what they're hoping is that eventually people will be able to use this wallet as their bank and go to an ATM and withdraw that currency, like I said earlier. So for instance, here at our local coffee shop here, I can take my cryptocurrency wallet, go to, which is just like, it's a pen, and like a really long pen, but you know, I have like a QR code that I can show to the ATM. It scans the QR code, it pulls up my wallet, and I can cash out whatever cryptocurrency I want, and it just deposits US dollars to me. So what they're hoping is that eventually, you know, years down the road after they push Libra, that people are going to be able to do this and not have to rely so heavily on trying to get a bank account and all of those sorts of things when their countries aren't necessarily there yet. That's what Shopify is hoping to get out of it. Now, obviously, Facebook is just hoping that the people from Shopify are going to be able to help Facebook push Libra through in order to get it as something that's recognized in the US and able to be launched, etc., etc. Because currently the US is really nervous that there's going to be like money laundering and people from other countries wiring money over to people to do bad things. All of that sort of fear is still happening here in the US, especially with our government. You know, they're really battling that out, and they're hoping that Shopify can kind of help guide them in a way that's going to eventually allow them to develop and push out this cryptocurrency. From my perspective, where I see this from a marketing perspective is the fact that Shopify is a very, very big platform for direct to consumer, right? So 2 Christmases ago, I created an entire dropshipping direct to consumer site because I wanted to know what the hype was about. And basically, direct to consumer or dropshipping at this point is you link a wholesaler's inventory up to a website that you create, and then essentially you just place Facebook ads. And if you're good at Facebook ads, you've got good creative and targeting, people are going to buy your product and you never have to touch any of the inventory, right? And so now all of a sudden they're just buying essentially from the wholesaler one product at a time, and it's being shipped to them. But like I said, the majority of people use Instagram and Facebook as a way to kind of boost their sales and get the majority of their sales, right? So I think Libra would add just another layer to that. That's what a lot of people are using Shopify for, these drop shipping sites. So I think Libra would add another, like I said, another layer to that by allowing these people to, you know, not have to worry about currency exchange, especially not have to worry about those credit card processing. But like I said, I see more and more intertwining between Shopify and Facebook. And so I just see these small partnerships happening from time to time that are leading me to believe that they've got an agenda in there somewhere, as a way that's mutually beneficial. I mean, in all honesty, it's mutually beneficial for both platforms, so good on them. But I would just say to continue watching that and to continue to watch this direct-to-consumer space, especially the drop shipping and things of that nature, because I don't think it's going away, and I think things like Libra are just going to enable it to move forward. All right, last thing before we move into outside of digital, TikTok is testing, they're rolling out slowly links on creators' profiles. So currently you're able to put your Instagram, your YouTube, and you get a short bio, like real short, like 50 or 80 characters. It's very short. And that's really all the information you can put on your TikTok profile other than your profile picture. They're testing people having a field to put a website so that they can direct people from their TikTok account to their website. So a lot of the press around this is saying, well, they're doing this to attract businesses because then businesses might be more willing to participate and spend on TikTok if they know that they're going to have a link to their website in their profile, which is probably true, right? So Walmart runs ads on TikTok, and a lot of the time I see those ads and I go to their account and I scroll through. But I don't think to go back to the ad to get to their website. And if it was right there in the profile, that would be a lot easier and more intuitive for the user. So I do see how that would benefit businesses. However, what I really think this is going to benefit are the influencers. So we see that influencers right now use LinkInBio for Instagram to send people to a myriad of different websites. So there are a few different ways this happens. LinkInBio, every specific picture has an associated link to it. So when you click the link in bio, it pulls up your grid and people can click on the different images to go to whatever website you're talking about. So if you're an influencer and you're promoting like a clothing brand, click on the photo where you're wearing the clothing brand and it's going to take them to their website, right? Or you can use like a link tree, which when people click on it, it pulls up essentially like 4 to 10 different call to action buttons that say like join my email list or go see my latest YouTube video or whatever, all these different links you can put there, right? So TikTok is starting to allow some people to put links in their bios. And if you look, the one person that they used in their press release to show this was actually an influencer. TikTok has been a place where influencers have grown very, very quickly and they grow a very loyal following. And so they're able to make money right now in ways that are a little bit unconventional to other platforms because they don't have that website link, right? They can't directly send somebody somewhere. They will have to tell them, oh, go to blah, 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 blah. And it's just not as intuitive as the other platforms. Link in bio, this is going to be a very big deal. I think it is going to push more influencer marketing to be happening on TikTok. I think it is going to be beneficial for businesses. And I'm just going to say it again, keep your eye on TikTok. And I think they have more going on up here than we think that they do. And they've got a vision that maybe we're just not seeing right now, but they're growing very, very quickly. People are more and more engaged with the platform and they're rolling out more features that are going to make businesses and influencers happy. All right, lastly, let's go outside digital and talk about how Robinhood, one of millennials' favorite investing apps, might become a social platform here in the future. So if you don't know what Robinhood is, it's basically a investing platform that allows users to connect their bank account to the app, and the app automatically starts saving and or investing money little by little based off of different rules that the user set. Apparently back in 2013 when Robinhood came out, they wanted it to be a social platform. But you also have to think where we were in 2013 and were we really ready to give our money to a social media platform and they said they were going to invest it for us? I mean, probably not, right? I know there's a lot of resistance when these investing apps came out in the first place, and they weren't even a social media platform. They were just going to help you invest your money a little bit easier. So now that they've kind of gained that trust, they have a strong user base, and more people are starting to trust things that are happening online. They're starting to kind of roll out features that make us think that they might be actually moving towards that social media platform that they wanted to be. So like I said, when they started, they wanted to be a social media platform. So at the beginning, there were some social aspects. People could post and say things like, I think Facebook's going to go up 11% within the next 9 weeks. Definitely would consider investing in it. And people could vote it up or down. And you had these people had snapshots of like their success rates, how many suggestions they've made, and so forth. But those features ended up going away. Well, this week, Robinhood rolled out profiles, which allows you to create a profile picture and a username. And it also allows you to see your own kind of analytics about, how is your portfolio split? Are you investing too much in tech and not enough in energy? Or, all these different things. It allows you to kind of look at your portfolio as if you were looking at the analytics of your Instagram account, right? We look at those analytics far more than we look at our investments, unfortunately, or at least I would guess. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. But that's kind of what that dashboard looks like. The portfolio split, that's private. Not everybody can see that. But what people are speculating is that, okay, we have these profiles now. Now you have your profile picture and your username, and you're also able to follow specific stocks, cryptocurrency, or you can have Robinhood curate it for you. And I'm assuming it gives you like a feed is what it's going to show you. So now we have a feed. Now we have profiles and usernames. So if we added back in some of those features that they had when they first started, now all of a sudden we've got this full-blown social media platform that's specifically informed for investing. Now, let me tell you, I was so excited about this, not because it's investing and it's a social media platform, which maybe I should be more excited about that, but I'm excited about it because it just goes to show that, like I said earlier, people are going to smaller spaces to have more meaningful conversations. And we're seeing more and more of these social media platforms pop up that are specific to a certain niche or industry. Last week, I almost talked about this mom-specific social media platform that allowed moms to ask and give advice. And it was a paid platform, so there was no advertising on it. So Robinhood is now coming and they're saying, okay, you use our services and now we're going to allow you to interact with one another. And what I think of when I think of this is Discord. So I had a connection on LinkedIn who is a really good stock investor, and I started following him and he said, hey, join our Discord, which if you don't know, Discord is essentially just like a Slack, and he just talks about investments and people chime in and they have all these conversations. But if Robinhood could take that, put that in their platform, now they're having people interact with their platform more. That increases the loyalty for their platform and they're gamifying it. So I think that's another big thing that we need to remember here. Social media gamifies interactions because if you have a lot of interactions on your posts are going to do really well. If you leave meaningful comments, then all of a sudden you're getting all these notifications and it's like dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, right? So people are used to this gamification, and I think that's why so many people are going towards more social aspects, is because they know the gamification of it is what's hooking people to their platforms. So Robinhood, I'm really excited to see where this goes. I might actually join Robinhood. I was a part of a different investing app previously. So maybe I'll try out Robinhood, especially if they're going to have this social media aspect to it, because then it's like a 2-for-1, right? I will say something to also keep in mind is that when they put out this press release and they said like the feeds, right, where people are able to choose their feeds or Robinhood will curate them, they said to think of it as a Spotify for investing. And to me, brilliant. They know exactly what they're doing with this, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. I hope that you are too. If you are, please drop a comment, and maybe we can get some referral codes going here and everybody can make some money this way. That's all I have for this week's weekly recap. Now, I do want to say I just released that I'm going to be doing an event on April 3rd in Wichita, Kansas. That's all about content creation. We're going to talk about how to get ideas. We're going to talk about how to actually execute and get those ideas onto social media platforms, because that's what I want people to do, is to walk away with content that they can push out. And so if you are watching this video, you have an opportunity to get a free ticket to that event if you are in Wichita. All you have to do is drop a comment below and tell me what content you are looking most forward to creating in 2020. And I will be picking a winner in 2 weeks for a free ticket to the event. Thanks so much for joining me on this weekly recap. I'll see you next week.